Hey, folks, it's the man with the pinky ring and the New York thing. Forget about it. Bad Brad Berkwood, and you're watching the Bad Brad Berkwood Show on the Ringside Report web TV channel. Now, hit that button and subscribe. Leave your comments below this episode. My guest today is all the way over in Australia, 16 hours ahead of me. 16 freaking hours. Forget about it. He is the guitarist. Okay, and last week I had on the lead singer of the band, 80s hit band, the Escape Club. And this gentleman is John Holliday. All right, we're recording. Well, first of all, John, all the way from Australia, 16 hours ahead of me. Our running joke on this show is, I told this to Trevor, who was over in England, and David Stereo is over in Melbourne. Since you're in the future, I'm willing to offer you 50% of the winnings if you can give me the lottery numbers for tonight.
Yeah, I've seen this ploy. I've seen this ploy before. I'm thinking 75% in my favour.
That's messed up. The lead singer of the Escape Club took willing to take 50. I understand.
Well, we are in a band.
There you go. There you go. Well, first of all, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, John. I appreciate it.
Lovely to meet you. Lovely to see you. Yeah.
Okay. Let's start out first. I always do with all the guests. The biggest thing going on in the world right now, unfortunately, is dealing with COVID. How are you dealing with COVID over there? How is Australia dealing with COVID?
Okay. Well, where I am, we're really lucky because we don't have any cases. We did, when it first started, we had a few cases and they locked us down. But this time they haven't locked us down. It just means that everybody wants to move here now and live here. So people are selling houses like left, right, and centre. People buying houses unseen who want to come get away from Melbourne, who want to get away from the cities, and they want to, because where I live, it's pretty much out in the middle of nowhere, So yeah. But it's been tough, obviously, especially with businesses have been really affected, So.
Okay.
But more in this here, like more in places like Melbourne, Sydney, Perth has been hit, but yeah.
Okay. And I noticed that you guys have been doing, and you've been part of it, I'm pretty sure, where everybody's getting together and doing the Zoom thing where it's like a 4-screen.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
Because obviously Trevor's in England, and I know Johnny is in England. He's in England too, right?
He's in England, and Red, our drummer, is in Amsterdam. So
wow,
he's in Holland. Yeah,
Amsterdam, interesting place. Yeah. Okay, and you've been doing the Zoom thing. Did you ever think when we were kids, we always talked about, I wish I could see somebody on the phone, and like 2001 Space Odyssey from all those years ago, the movie, you could see it, but not in real life. Now we're sitting here talking to each other. We can talk on the phone, FaceTime. And did you ever think that would be a reality in our lifetimes?
I don't know if I did. I mean, the thing for me was the first time I saw a TV on a wall. I was like, wow, that's like, that's like watching Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
TV on the wall. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, people talking to their watches. All those things that we watched, it's quite amazing, really, that it's pretty much all come true.
It has come true. It has. Yeah. It has. All right. What I want to do is I want to start at the beginning and then work forward to present day. So, talking with you, you were born in Stepney East. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's a suburb of London. Yeah.
Okay. 2 things off of that. First, what was it like growing up, John? And also, tell me about the bow bells.
Bow bells.
Bow bells. I'm sorry. Bow
bells. Yeah.
Seems to be a big thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I was born in Stepney East, but I didn't really live there very much. I was born in a place called Stepney East Hospital. And Stepney East Hospital is right next to Bow Church, which is in the borough of Bow, which is in London. And Bow Church has a bell which rings, and to be a true Cockney, as they say in England, which I am, I suppose, you have to be born within the sound of what they say, the sound of Bow Bells. So it's in that area. So I was born there, but I lived in a place called East Ham till I was about 4, and then my parents moved out because everybody wanted the big dream was to move out into the burbs, not to live in. Completely opposite now. Well, obviously, everybody wants to live in London, but in those days, everybody wanted to move out. So I ended up living in a place called Upminster in Essex, which is a very small town, in Essex.
Okay. And what was it like growing up in that area? I would assume into your teenage years?
Yeah. Most of my teenage years and growing up. Well, growing up, it was pretty uneventful. It was just the usual thing, going to school and playing and stuff. But I think it's the thing that drove me to want to be in music because there was nothing else to do. There was no distractions really, apart from going to school. So I used to sit there kind of daydreaming about it, and yeah, so that's really why there's quite a few bands who come from that part of England.
Okay.
Pretty much, I think, for the same reason, because there was nothing else to do.
Okay. Growing up in your household, were your parents musical, or what type of music did they listen to?
Yeah. So jazz. My dad's 90 now. He only gave up playing jazz about 4 years ago.
Wow.
Excuse me. So he's 90, and he met my mum. He's a trumpet player, and he met my mum, who was a singer at the time. So they met on a gig.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And who would you hear playing? Who would they play? Who would your father and mom play in the house?
Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Miles Davis. Who's the guy with the huge cheeks? Dizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy Gillespie,
yeah. Dizzy Gillespie, yeah. Oscar Peterson.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah. My dad took me to see Oscar Peterson. Peggy Lee.
Oh, great, Peggy Lee.
On my mum's side.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, all great artists. All great artists. Yeah. Trevor told me, we're going to get to this later, Trevor told me his favorite singer was Frank Sinatra, and that's my favorite singer. You mentioned Frank. Yeah. So we went off script.
I saw it. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Talking about Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
But, okay, so coming into your formative years, teenage years, and you said because there wasn't a lot going on, you wanted to get into music. So who were your personal, maybe like 15, 16, 17 years old, musical influences?
Oh, that age would have been the glam period of rock in England. So it would have been Bowie, Mark Bolan, T-Rex, all those kind of bands. Yeah. Deep Purple, big favorite. I mean, they weren't really a glam band, but they were kind of around at that. That was their kind of time.
Okay. Now, moving into around 1980, early 80s, 1980 maybe, you were in a group called Mad Shadows.
That's right, with Trev, yeah.
With Trev. Okay. Who, I can't remember what Trevor said. Who formed that band?
I think it was, I'd been in a band, and we kind of came to its natural end, as bands did in those days. And I think Trev was in another band. I think his band name was The Directors, if I remember correctly. And we just sat down and had a chat one day. And I think he felt like their direction was kind of coming to an end, mine. And we just sat down one day, had a chat, Trevor, and we said, let's do something, So him and me, we were together. I think we took the drummer from The Directors. I was playing bass at the time. I play guitar in the band now, but I was playing bass, and Trevor was playing guitar. And we had I remember he told you the story. We had a fantastic keyboard player called Ian Kerno, who ended up playing for Talk Talk and a few other quite big bands. And so that's how we got together. Yeah.
Okay. Out of curiosity, I didn't ask Trevor this question. When you were starting out, maybe even before Escape Club, but you were gigging around, maybe with the Mad Shadows, maybe with whatever groups before success hit, who were some of because I'm a huge 80s guy, it's my generation, and loved almost every band that I know of that came out of England. Just out of curiosity, who were some of the bands that were coming up gigging around the same time you were?
The Cure supported us in one gig.
Wow.
Yeah, not, yeah, no, that was in another band I was in just before Man Shadows, but yeah, the Cure were the support, and I think within about 2 months they'd gone from being a support band to being huge in England. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they just overnight they just took off, but yeah. Yeah, so that kind of era of bands, there was China Crisis, there was trying to think the ones that would have gone over in America, because we had a lot of bands in England that were playing around at that time, you know.
Do you remember, John, by chance, a group called Fun Boy 3?
Yes, yeah,
Which I can't find any members of it that like have a website or anything. But
yeah,
I have them on wax. I have them on CD now, but I had their album on wax with Tunnel of Love. They did the cover of Our Lips Are Sealed.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, they were brilliant. Yeah,
Came
yeah,
around the same time as you guys.
yeah, yeah, they were. Yeah, yeah, kind of sort of ska reggae kind of band.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yep. Okay.
yeah. Well, did they have Terry Hall as the lead
Terry
singer? I
Hall.
think
Yep, Terry
that's right.
Hall.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
was the lead singer, Terry Hall. You're absolutely right. And they did
Right.
have a kind of a reggae sound. They had actually, I think they might have
Yeah,
some reggae players in the band on some of the
yeah,
tracks. 88 rolls around, and at that time you're the Escape Club, and you have the smash hit, which, as I told Trevor, everybody was playing in the United States. I'll go out to every third song at the nightclub. The girls, the women, I should say, will go out and dance to Wild Wild West. Watching the video, there's the part where there's the rap part, and Trevor explained it to me, but you and Johnny were like, they kind of like did a fade because I was getting confused, and he explained to me. I know you had real curly hair, and
yeah,
Johnny had like the dreads, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And you know the part of the video I'm talking about, like you guys are like
yeah, I know
standing
exactly
alone
the
and
part
they
you mean.
fade.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's you too. I thought it was like, I'm like, wait a second, they must have done it because his hair grew really long from the first, but it was both of you at the same time.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
curious, two things. One, did you enjoy doing the video for that? And where did the how can I explain, the arms and the legs, where did that
Okay.
come from?
Okay, so the arms and legs just came from the director.
Okay.
So when that song was done, they basically, the record company put it out to a few video directors that, for one reason or another, they feel are doing well at the time. Excuse me. And they just they tender it out to it, and that guy came up with this. All the other kind of video treatments that we were getting were a little bit predictable. We felt like we'd seen them all before, you know. It's kind of like what I used to call Coca-Cola adverts, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks amazing in them, but it just, you know. And that one was just weird. And we have a little bit of a weird side to the band. We always have. And I think we just kind of gravitated towards that one. So that's the one we went with, yeah.
Okay. And how did you enjoy shooting the video?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, because there was so many arms and legs in it, I mean, there wasn't really much of a performance in it. There was a bit of performance, but it was, they spent most of those people, that because all those arms and legs were shot with mirrors.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no CGI in that at all. It was all completely done, which is quite interesting because when you see it now, you know, like if you see CGI that was done in the 80s, it looks really bad now.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really kind of, it still has a depth to it. I mean, obviously it's the video looks dated, but it doesn't look, that part of the video, it just looks the same, you know, because of the way they shot it. So they actually used ballet dancers because they were the only people that were actually strong enough to hold, because they literally had to hold some of those poses for like an hour.
Wow.
To line up the mirrors, to get that effect. They were literally, you know, millimeters of moving mirrors, you know, to get that to actually to work like that. Yeah.
Okay. If you said you watched the interview with Trevor that I did?
I did, yeah, it's great.
So you know, I was touched. He actually made me well up in tears, and I usually do that to the guests. They always tell me, they got you this time, Brad. Yeah. In '91, you do the album Dollars and Sex, and you know how I feel about the song I'll Be There. I'm still playing it. I know Trevor wrote the lyrics, but he talked about the musical part. Did you write some of the music?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we came up with as a band. The thing that he didn't tell you, I think he still finds this hard to believe, but this is actually gospel true story. When we wrote that song and we all sat down with the melody, we all came up with the melody together and the chords and all that stuff. And we said we're going to go and get something to eat. And Trev said, "Oh, look, I'm going to sit and do some lyrics, see what I can come up with, you know." And so we went out to dinner, and then dinner turned into something a little more, a few more drinks and everything, and came back reasonably late. And I got back to the apartment, and I opened the door. And when I opened the door, I'd said to him before I left, "Leave the lyrics out for me so I can have a look when I come back," And he said, "Yeah, I will." So I swear to you, when I opened the door, I walked to the table, and there was a sheet of A4 paper sitting on the table, and the moonlight was coming through the window. There was no lights on, and it was literally on that piece of paper.
Wow.
It was like I could sit and read them in the moonlight. It was that bright. The moon was that bright. It was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
And I got major goosebumps when I read it.
Well, Trevor and I talked about spirits, and I do believe that I believe that when you pass, I still believe the spirit. I was talking about my father. I don't see it, but I do feel like at times I feel my dad's spirit. And he talked about the lady that passed away, and he believed. We all have different beliefs, but that's a powerful song. It really, really is a powerful song.
I think it just touched us at a certain time. It's something we didn't expect. No, we didn't know that was going to happen. It wasn't, And the man it was, obviously his wife. He was actually our accountant. Okay. But he was a lovely guy. He was a lovely guy, and it was just, it really touched us. So.
Okay. And I talked with Trevor, and the one I talked to you about as well. You guys in '89 did a cover of 20th Century Fox, which I thought that was a really cool track, and you guys just knocked it out the park. Loved it, and loved seeing. You're welcome. And I love seeing Ray Manzarek was there. I mean, the man himself, the legend. He's a freaking legend. God rest his soul. What was it like for you being around Ray?
Oh, well, it was incredible. Well, I think I saw the bit of the interview where Trev spoke to you about this, but we were kind of like, we didn't want to come over all fanboy on him and go, "Oh, Ray, tell us about the Doors, tell us about Jim." We're trying to be a bit cooler about that.
Right.
But he was literally like, "Only going to ask me about the Doors," and we're like, "Okay." And then once you asked him, he had some stories, and he just kept going, Wow. Yeah. He loved talking about the Doors and Jim. I mean, he just, yeah.
Were you a Doors fan?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have all their records. I didn't go and buy every single record they had, but definitely I like the Doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another track that you came out with, and I don't have the time frame, but you guys made a song, and I just actually found it doing research on you, where you kind of made fun of the hair bands. Poison.
Call it Poison. Call it Poison.
Yeah, Call It Poison. What year did that come out?
That would have been about 91, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so 91, before I was born. Yeah. So I saw it, the motorcycles coming in. It looked like, was it shot in California?
Yeah. That was shot in California, yeah.
Yeah, I figured looking at the lay of the land, it was California. Talk about that track.
Well, I really like that track. So it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek poke at some of the hair bands that were around, and the way they treated women, and the way they, their whole sort of the way their lifestyle was, the way we met quite a few of them, because obviously we used to meet them a lot of the time around the pool. Like we used to stay at Oakwood in California, in one of the Oakwood apartments, and there was always a metal or a hair band there, always, and they really were, sitting there by the pool, in their cowboy boots and like swimmers, cowboy boots, and legends in their own mind, I used to call them,
Okay. Yeah. Well, did you have who wrote that? Trevor wrote the lyrics to that?
Yeah, Trevor wrote the lyrics. I think, we all as a band, we always used to kind of come up with a riff, or we really liked the riff, and it was quite heavy, but we weren't really a heavy band. We didn't really want to do a. I mean, I thought Trev told you the thing that Doug Morris from Atlantic said, should have made it a love song, and he's probably right.
Happens. Yeah. Did any of the track that you ever recorded as the Escape Club? Did anybody else write them, or was always the band?
No, as a band, we always wrote all the music together. Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't do it. I think 20th Century Fox was the only cover that we ever did.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Around 92, you guys disbanded, and you and Trevor went into being like a songwriter, record producer, duo team.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
about
right.
that time in your life.
Yeah, well, it was just we kind of we were broke. You know, we don't really have any money. I mean, it's amazing, really. You know, you look at the situation. I mean, all I'll say to you about that, you know, when you say about, I saw that thing when you said to Trevor, is there any questions that you'd like to be asked? I'd
We're
like
gonna
someone
get to
to
that
ask me.
one. We're gonna
I'd
get to
like
that
someone
one.
to ask me, where did the money go? That's what I'd like to know.
Oh,
You
we're
know.
gonna come to that. Then you can elaborate on
Okay.
it.
Okay. Excuse me.
It's okay.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. So
We're talking about when you so that period. So when you disbanded and you went into being a team, is
yeah.
that now
Yes.
doing other stuff? I saw some of the artists. One of the artists you work with is, I believe, if it's the same person, it's one that I use when I do a boxing workout. I play all kinds of music. But one of them is Shaggy. You worked with Shaggy?
Yeah, yeah, we did a song, one track for Shaggy. Yeah, yeah. I think we remixed one of his songs. Yeah, we did the Baha Mem who did "Who Let the Dogs Out."
Oh, really?
We did the album before "Who Let the Dogs Out." Unfortunately,
Okay, okay. Well, did
but
you guys find success with doing that, John? I mean,
yeah,
financial
yeah.
success?
Well, we made a living. I
Okay.
mean, really, I mean, most of the things that we did were very, very English, very UK based. As we say, they didn't really travel across the pond,
Okay.
So and so, you can make enough money to make a good living out of that, but you're not going to retire, doing
Okay.
that.
Now, somewhere after that, maybe 2004-ish, you make the pilgrimage. Now, I don't know if you went first to Australia, or did Trevor and you go to Australia?
Trev came over first, and then he basically got me a gig, which was working on on a TV show, doing the music with a TV show. So
Okay.
yeah,
And you stayed because you remember what I asked him if you hit the lottery. He said, "I'm getting a ticket and going back to Australia." You
yeah,
stayed. He went back.
yeah. He went back because he went back because he was doing some things in music that probably needed to be in a different place in Australia. Australia is a great place, but it's not like world breaking for music. I mean, the last big band that came out of Australia was probably the 80s. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So and before that, AC/DC. But there's not that many bands.
Oh, just AC/DC.
Just
AC/DC.
AC/DC. Yeah,
Just
yeah. Only
AC/DC.
AC/DC.
They're gonna be
That's probably
calling you up on this.
yeah. That's almost like if you do that one, you probably go, "My work here is done."
One and done, but that's a
Yeah,
hell of a one.
yeah.
What do you love talking about Australia? What do you love about the country? Obviously, you stay, so you must love it there. I would assume.
The lifestyle. The lifestyle. I mean, I used to be a guy who used to stay up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up at 10, 11 o'clock in the next day. When I was living in England or whatever. But now I'm in Australia. I'm up at 5:30. I'm out. The weather's amazing. You've got the beautiful beaches. Yeah, the whole lifestyle is great. I'm asleep by 9.
Okay.
I'm down. So yeah.
Okay. Out of curiosity, the taxes in England kill a lot of artists, and they leave England, or they
Yeah.
get dual citizen, or whatever they do.
Yeah.
As far as from a tax perspective, is Australia easier on taxes than England?
I think it's about the same, really.
Really?
Yeah, it's about the same, I'd say, taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving along to present day. I see
Yeah.
you got some guitars back there. You're not going to jam out. You're not going to do a solo of something.
No.
Okay.
I've only just moved into this house. I've got nothing set up, So.
Okay. So present day, what are you working on? What are you doing?
Just really with the band now. We're revisiting some of our old songs. We've just thought that was quite an interesting thing to do. So we've been going back and doing completely different versions of older songs that we did on albums, and also writing new songs as well. So
Okay.
hopefully next year we'll have something to put out, which would be great.
Great.
Yeah.
Now,
Obviously, it's a little bit. restricting the fact that we're all in different countries and different time zones, as you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but we're chipping away. It's quite good as well because it gives us time to actually really evaluate what we've done and go, is that a great song, or do you think we could do a better song, or do you think that production could be better and stronger? So.
Okay. Trevor had mentioned when we did an interview last week that he's going to be doing a podcast. Are you going to be doing that with him?
I know nothing about it, so I'd say no.
Okay. Well, because he mentioned Australia. I think he said something to do with Australia.
I think someone in Australia who's doing it with.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just was curious.
Yeah.
Biggest, we're going to segue into the second part, the fun questions, but out of curiosity, biggest misconception about a musical artist's life. What is it?
That we don't work.
Okay.
You don't work hard. That it's just rocking up, doing some gigs, and if you're successful, if you're not successful or mildly successful, you may not work that hard. But if you're successful, you have to work really, really hard. It's why a lot of bands came from the UK didn't make it in America, because they just couldn't deal with the workload, couldn't deal with the amount of, because once you go into that corporate machine of America, it's like a proper job, as well as getting up and playing, doing your gigs as well, but you're up early, on the phones, talking to people, you're signing stuff, you're being driven to have a meeting with another guy, and it literally goes on all day. It just doesn't stop.
And as you saw, Trevor alluded to that you got to be
right.
here, you got 30 minutes for lunch, and you got to go here, you got to go there.
Right, yeah. I mean, our biggest story is when we first came to America, we arrived with the #1 single, and they said to us, what do you want to do? And we said, well, Empire State Building, because we're in New York,
Right.
And they were like, okay. So they took us there, and literally it was like an hour at the Empire State Building, and then it just started,
Mm.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's segue into and we're going to get to that question you want me to ask you. I asked everybody that question, and it's going to be your floor when I do. Let's start out with, what is your favorite genre of movies?
Oh, movie. Oh, that's a tricky one. Thrillers.
Okay.
I like a thriller these days. I mean, it changes, I like sci-fi. I like thrillers,
Are you a sci-fi geek like Trevor?
Not as much.
Okay.
No. I do like sci-fi. But these days it's more of a really good thriller. Just get into that. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't watch Babylon 6 times. He said he watched it 6 times.
Yeah. I kind of tried to get into it, but didn't quite get me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
all Star Wars.
good ones.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite thriller movie that you like?
Would you say The Green Mile was a thriller? I don't know.
Yeah, in a sense, it was Stephen King. Stephen King
drama. I suppose a drama. Yeah.
There was elements of it. Yeah, and Stephen King as always.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who is your personal favorite musical band?
Oh, okay. I like Coldplay.
Okay.
Yeah, these days. Yeah. Pink Floyd were a big one for me.
Okay.
Bowie.
Everybody says Bowie.
Yeah.
And did you get to meet him, or you didn't get to meet him either?
Didn't get to meet him, but saw him 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah. He was the one where I know Trev said he wanted to. I kind of didn't want to. I don't really want. Sometimes I don't want to meet my heroes, because if they turn out to be twits, idiots, it's kind of like,
Well, I can tell you this about Bowie, and I never met him, but I loved him like everybody else. I respected his genius that he was, and his showmanship too. People leave out the showmanship side. I interviewed last month Fee Waybill, the lead singer of the Tubes. And Fee said the Tubes opened for Bowie, and Bowie, had a big production, and the Tubes had a big production, their show. They had lots of going. He said Bowie had his roadies push their stuff back so Fee could have the whole stage, not just like a little postage stamp of a
Wow,
stage. So I was
that's
like,
good.
wow, because a lot of artists, as you know, at that level would be like, you get
No,
what you
they
get,
don't.
and you get in
That's
where
right.
you fit in, type
Yeah,
of thing. So, I haven't heard anything bad about Bowie. I can't. I'm not interviewed anybody that hung around with him, but
yeah.
I know I have heard that he was very giving to artists, which is I always like to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, romantic evening. Who are you putting on to listen to?
Oh, music. I would put on a compilation, which would be like a chill out compilation. I find for me, I just like when I'm, in that environment, I find lyrics and a little bit distracting. So I'll go more of an instrumental kind of like, yeah.
Okay, anybody in particular?
No, just like I'll find a compilation that I like of
Okay,
various music, just down tempo kind of, yeah, yeah.
okay. I want to do a disclaimer for the viewers. If you hear drilling, because it'll pick up on my mic, that's my better half, Debbie, who's outside with them doing Christmas decorations. She's sitting in her SUV because it's cold, watching them do Christmas decorations with Santino and Bella, our dogs, because we don't want them barking on the camera. So if you hear drilling, it's not anybody coming to break down either one of our doors because we didn't pay our rent or whatever the case may be, our mortgage. Okay. What is your favorite concert you've seen to date?
Okay. The one I always think about is I went to see Iggy Pop. He was playing at a club in London, and I heard a couple of his tracks and I liked them. And then I went to see him at a place called The Venue in London, and it was in the days of 24-hour record shops. I don't
Okay,
know if
yeah, I
you ever had
remember.
those.
Yep.
We had those in London, but Virgin Records was 24 hours,
Mm-hmm. Tower Records.
Yeah, and it was one of those ones where I watched the gig and then went out and bought everything.
Okay.
Everything he had, went home with an armful of CDs.
Did you ever meet him off to years later or anything?
You know what I did? I met him in a hotel. Yeah, yeah. I met him in a hotel. Actually, yeah, and yeah, he was actually just kind of in the swimming pool, just sort of doing a few. He was doing his warm. He was doing a gig that night, and I was going to see him, and he was just. So yeah, I went up and said hi. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Favorite, and this is from any era. It could be modern day or back in the day. Who is your favorite male singer?
It would have to be Bowie. It's my favorite male
Bowie.
singer.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you have a favorite? I know picking a song is too hard for Bowie, but a favorite era of Bowie's music?
They're all. I love them all for
Okay.
different reasons.
Okay.
Hunky Dory period. That period. I love that period for what it was. And then I love the kind of his darker period when he was doing Heroes and Low and all that stuff. And then I mean, I know he wasn't really a fan of his pop stuff, but stuff like Let's Dance and
I love that album, China Girl.
absolute classic.
Yeah.
Dance,
Yeah, and I love the videos too.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, because everybody says, Trevor mentioned Bowie, Fee mentioned Bowie, pretty much everybody I've interviewed mentioned Bowie. As a musical artist, where you're trained, you have your, as I call it, a SME, which is an acronym, subject matter expert. So you're going to be the subject matter expert here.
Okay, yeah.
Over me. What is it you see in Bowie from your perspective? Of course, the music, but what do you see that makes him so brilliant?
I'll tell you what it is. For me, it's when I was a kid watching him, like I wanted to be him. And I think when you see someone, you want to be that person, It's like you don't even think I want to be like them. I want to be. You say I want to be that guy. It's like, yeah. I think it was that. Really.
Okay.
I mean, I remember. Like you just see, even when you did, like you watching gigs, and I'd be, we'd be sitting in a sort of 20,000 seat arena watching him or whatever, and just the moment, and he comes out even before it's on the big screen, and you just would know it, even though he's a tiny little stick figure in the distance, you just know it's him straight away. It's just the way he holds himself, the way he moves, everything. It's not just about being a singer. It's about the whole the whole artistry from him, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Out of curiosity, it's not even a question on the paper, but you mentioned you like thrillers. I don't know if it's considered a thriller, but it has elements of it. What did you think of his movie, The Man Who Fell to Earth?
Yeah, kind
Strange.
of. Yeah, it was a strange movie at the time, and also, that kind of thing about pop stars being actors. I can't really get past the fact that they're a pop star. I would struggle to see him as an actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite female singer?
Favorite female singer. That's a hard one. That's a hard one for me. Favorite female singer. Can I come back to that?
Sure. We'll come back to
Yeah.
that one. Okay, so being a guitarist, I usually ask you the singers this. I know you did more of the guitar, and you said you played bass as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Originally, I used to play bass in the band. Yeah.
Maybe I changed the question around. I usually ask the singers, like, in the shower or driving or if you jog or whatever, what's the song that you hum in your voice, hum that comes in your head that you hum? But I'm going to kind of flip it. You're a guitarist. Is there a guitar lick that you hear in your head? And sometimes you like, even if you play an air guitar, you just hear this lick in your head that comes to you on a regular basis.
Smoke on the water.
Well, there you go. There you go. That's a good one. There's a good one. Okay. Are you a guy question? Are you a car person?
Have been in the past.
Okay.
Not going through much of a car person period at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back to that period. What were your car? What was the car that I love that car?
Trev said Aston DB6. That would have been one. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Aston Martin.
Okay.
Yeah, Ferraris. All the Ferraris are just like love Ferraris to look at.
Well, I would ask you, did you own one back in Escape Club days? But since Trevor said they ripped you guys off, I don't think that might be the case.
No, I didn't. I had a red car, but it wasn't a Ferrari.
It wasn't a Ferrari. I had to add some levity to that because Trevor did say that. I'm not making it up. Okay. Do you have a favorite noise or sound you like to hear?
Yeah, sound of the sea.
Okay.
Ocean. Sound of the ocean.
Okay. Flip it. Least favorite noise or sound?
Chalk on a chalkboard.
Oh, chalk.
When it squeaks.
Yep. Usually I get the nails or the chalk. Yeah, me too. I hate that. In grade school, did they ever send you to because they did me when I would misbehave, which was quite a bit. They sent me to the board to erase the board. Do you ever have to do that in school?
Oh no, we were just busy dodging the board rubber aiming at our heads.
There you go. Okay.
Then they make you pick it up and bring it back to them as well.
Bring it back. There you go. There you go. Favorite, I think I know the question is because you offered to bring it here to the States. Favorite food?
Curry.
Curry.
Yeah.
Wait, I looked up curry. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I saw dishes of it, and I was stationed in Korea. I don't know if that's curry, but it almost put me, from looking at the pictures, almost put me in the mindset of kimchi, but it's not like kimchi.
No.
What is curry?
So it's Indian food, basically curry, Indian curry food, and it's really popular in England. Super popular. It's been kind of changed for the English palate. And they do lots of very, very hot dishes for people when they've had far too much to drink, who think they can go in there and eat the hottest thing they can possibly eat,
Okay.
But yeah. But I love the spices, love the flavour. It's pretty hot. Yeah, I like it quite hot as well.
Okay. If you were to hit the lottery tomorrow, 2, 3, 400 million. Now we know what Trevor said. He's coming to live with you in Australia.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? First thing.
Buy a boat.
Buy a boat? Okay.
Yeah.
What type of boat?
A big one.
A big one.
I'm talking yacht style,
Yacht style. Okay.
Yeah.
Where if someone you get
Buy a Ferrari.
What's that?
Buy the Ferrari.
There you go. But a big boat where if you get pissed off, you tell them go to the bow. Go to the bar.
That's it.
And you're
That's
like 3
it.
miles
Yeah.
away from me now.
That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Do you
And
have?
then I'll probably just give the rest of it away, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
I don't need a lot of money. I'm not that kind of person, really.
Not that kind of person. Okay. If pre-COVID, what was your favorite vacation destination?
Oh, I loved Italy. I went to Italy. Loved Italy.
Okay. What part,
Yeah.
out of curiosity?
Oh, just southern Italy, just general south. But yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
Just
stationed in Sigonella during the war.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
with the boot, almost at the bottom of the boot.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. We were almost there to the bottom of the boat. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
If you could meet one, you better not have practiced these questions because you watched Trevor's interview and you had an idea. And I'm not asking. And if you had, I'm visualizing you with a big whiteboard and saying, "Okay, Brad came to that question. There it is."
Yeah, Wikipedia. Yeah.
Take a pause. Okay, if you could meet one person from any time in history, who would you like to meet, and what would your first question be for him?
Oh, one person. Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the question?
How'd you become so good?
That's what everybody says. That's what everybody says.
How'd you do that? Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever? I think I asked Trevor this. There might have been somebody before Trevor. Because did Trevor play? Didn't he play guitar? He does.
Yeah, he
play.
plays
I mean,
guitar.
did he? I mean, I should
He
say.
put himself down as a
does.
guitar player. He's actually a good guitar player.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He did. I should have said that. Of course, he played guitar. He played guitar. I've been interviewing a lot of musicians. I asked him. I said, in a private moment, did you ever light your guitar on fire and start going like this, like Jimmy? He said, "No, Brad, I never did that one." Did you ever do that one?
I couldn't afford to.
I love the brutal honesty. And Trevor, I know you play guitar. I don't know why it slipped my mind. You sang on my show. I should know that. I think it's because Trevor said he doesn't play that. He didn't give himself enough credit. I think that's why I forgot for a moment.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's much more into being a singer and writing lyrics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could, John, in a sentence or two, sum yourself up as a human being.
Oh. I think I'm quite a reasonably happy person. I'd like to think I'm a kind person. I don't like seeing injustice to other people. And hopefully I'm a good dad to my kid,
Okay.
Who's only 5, by the way, which is
you're a late bloomer over there, pal.
Oh yeah, got it out of the way early.
Let's see. You got older kids? You got older kids?
No.
Oh, you just have 5. Well, you know what, folks? He gave himself away. See, you thought he was all mellow he's still an escape club, but he's mellow in his older age. He's not going to bed at 9 o'clock because he's mellow in his older age. He's got a 5-year-old. You got to go to bed at 9 o'clock, pal.
So true. And that's why I'm up at 5:30.
That's why. Does he have any musical leanings yet? Or?
Yeah. So my daughter. Yeah, she's.
Daughter. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. She's got her on the piano at the moment, playing a bit of piano, and yeah.
Okay.
And she likes to come and smash my guitars while I'm playing them. So.
Okay. Well, don't let her see any Jimi Hendrix. Light him on fire. I did this for you, Dad.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, because of the way you summed yourself up as a human being, and Trevor, I'm going to kind of go off page for a minute. You guys always had, I talked to Trevor and you saw the interview, you guys had, and you were in the band, so I would assume that maybe, I'm not saying you and Trevor are identical in your views, but you probably are very similar because you were a band. And I would think if you're putting these lyrics out, you're a band, and most of the band are going to be like, we're with this. So where I told Trevor, I commend you as well, because you had, you talked about safe sex and Wild Wild West, Shake the Cheek. You talked about missiles and oil money. I mean, it's still relevant to this day.
It is still relevant, yeah.
And as I said to Trevor, you're an artist first, but you're a human being before anything, before the music, before anything, humanity. So I commend you that you were part of a band that had songs that took stances that might have always been the most popular thing.
Yeah, no, that's it. Well, the thing is, if you do that, you're going to get some people who love it and some people who don't agree with it, or don't like it, what you're saying. I think the thing is with us is we just didn't want to be one of those bands that just put out the kind of the standard lyric that a lot of people just put out, you know, the kind of standard love lyric, or, you know. So we were always looking for a twist or something a little bit different, you know, to sing about.
Okay. And, you know, like Trevor and I had said, you know, when you put out your lyrics, you get that shut up and sing. We don't want to hear your political beliefs. But like I said, honestly, it's humanity, and humanity comes before anything. That's just, you know, that's how I feel. Now we're getting to your question. With everything we discussed, okay, and all the interviews you've ever done, as you said early on, what is the one question you were never asked, but you're going to tell me what it is now, again, if you would, and then what's the answer?
Yeah. Well, my question would be, you were in a band that sold over 1 million albums, probably a million singles as well. At the time that was out, those CDs were selling for about $16 an album, and, you know, so where did the money go?
Okay. And the honest answer is, you don't know.
We were never allowed to find out, is the truth of it. Yeah.
No court, no legal. You never try to sue anything?
Just too many. You know, at the time you start asking the questions, you're doing pretty well, and you're told pretty quickly that if you want to kind of challenge those things or start looking into where that money went, then you would not be working while that was going on. You know,
that's effed up. It really pisses me off.
Yeah,
it's a job. It's a hard work.
It's the way most record companies, especially at that time, operated. You know, you don't get to see the accounts, you don't get to see anything. You know, yeah.
Let me ask you this: when you go on these 80, you know, pre-COVID, and hopefully when we get back to some normalcy, and you do the 80s packages with the other groups, do you hear that a lot from the other groups? That same deal? They got ripped off?
Most of those bands are not, you know, not well off, you know, for whatever reason. It's either the manager ripped them off, or the record company didn't, you know, account to them, or you know, there's a million. I mean, especially in those days as well, the whole premise of you know, like you want to get a record deal. That seems like the holy grail when you're a band to achieve, you know. But then when you get the record deal, you know, that's just the start. That's literally just the start. And then, you know, I mean, the thing is, at least people are kind of doing most of the things themselves now. So if they're successful, they get what they deserve, you know. But I mean, record companies were just banks, really. They were just basically giving you a loan, you know, giving you a loan to make a record. That's pretty much what it was, with at really crappy rates, you know.
So, yeah. So today, when you guys are working on a new album, the dynamic has changed. You guys are in control pretty much now, right?
100%. Yeah. We don't. Yeah. And if we use anybody outside, it would just be it would be a separate deal. It would be a separate, you know, they get paid for what they do, and that's it, you know. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. And finally, last question I always close out on is, what is the saying, if you have one, that you live your life by?
I don't know if I have a saying. It's like go back to what I said before, is I just try and be respectful of other people, you know, and just, and try and be a decent human being, you know.
Okay. I was supposed to tell you, I'm going to be setting up an interview with him, Kevin Rankin.
Oh, brilliant, Kev. Yeah, I love him.
He loves you. He said, give you a virtual hug. He said he's
going to definitely. About you. He does the best hugs.
Yeah.
He's a bear of a man, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the drilling. So he said to give you a virtual hug because I'm gonna be doing an interview with him, and I saw you're part of it was, I don't know, it was John E. and Trevor who did the basement one.
Isn't it?
Yeah, what's that?
Confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Trevor said having two John, John, but okay. Yeah. What's your if you would, your social media platforms where your fans can find you?
A little bit on Facebook and a little bit on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got the.
I don't do much on Twitter, really. I must be honest with you. It's just,
I noticed. I saw.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Escape Club, is that what's the website? Is it theescapeclub.com?
No, that's I think it's something like escapeclubband.net. I think it's something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, you can find
Oh,
it
if you
there.
Google the Escape Club, it comes
Yeah,
up.
and
Yeah.
it'll pull up because I pull it up. All right, one other thing I want to give you the mic and the stage, and I want you to shoot out. We're around the holidays. If you would, a positive message for your fans and for people, dealing with what we're dealing with right now in the world. The platform
Yeah.
is yours.
Yeah. Well, I just think with what we're dealing with in the world, you just got to hang in there. There's nothing more you can do. You've got to be sensible, because whatever your views are, even if you think it's a load of baloney, which some people do, the fact is you just got to look at you're affecting other people if you take that view. So yeah, exactly. Even if you
Subliminal
don't,
message.
what's the harm in it? It's just a mask, it's not a big deal, and that's that. Yeah. And obviously I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Okay. Well, hey, John, I greatly appreciate it. You're a fun guy. You and Trevor were awesome to have on. I greatly appreciate it. Like I told Trevor, you got access to me when you guys have projects, whether it's solo or anything you got going on. Reach out to me. I have you back on the show. If you got a message just for the world, you're like, you know what? I want to say this because you have an important voice. Let me know. I have you back on anytime.
Okay, thanks very much.
All right, and you get some rest because your 5-year-old will be waking you. Guess what? So it's 6:03 p.m. here. I'm looking at my clock on the computer, and it's
Yeah.
we did about an hour. So it's
Yeah.
10 a.m. there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting for it to run through the thing. Say, let's go and play.
Yeah.
All right, hey John. Again, I greatly appreciate it. Happy holidays under the best circumstances. Be safe, and thank you for your contributions musically. And your stances that you take on your platform. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Okay. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. All right, folks, that's another episode of the Bad Brad Berkowitz Show on the Ringside Report web TV channel. Told you I'd bring you big names. Last week, Trevor Steele. This week, John Holliday from the 80s hit band, Escape Club. Another gentleman, another great guy. Loving these guests, okay? And for the 80s people, I'm going to continue to bring you big names. You ask for them, we're going to bring them to you on the Bad Brad Berkowitz Show. Forget about it. And remember, folks, every act of kindness is a little love we leave behind. Bad Brad out.